Hello and welcome to our 2021 LEC tournament preview. Today I'm joined by Coach Brian Baptiste of the men's basketball team. Thanks for joining me, Coach.
You're welcome.
And we sat down before the season started to talk about the challenges ahead and how different this season would look. But it didn't seem to phase your players too much. You guys got out to 4 straight wins, a really strong start. How important were the early preparations that you made?
Well, I wasn't sure, Molly, because it was the first time going through it. And I obviously didn't get in as much material as I would have liked to. But I mean, we just were dealt a hand and we had to play it the best we could. So I've been doing this a long time. I just figured out what I thought was were the most important things to work on. And I was fortunate that I had a veteran group and they all knew most of the tactics and strategies that I like to use offensively and defensively. The test was to get the new guys involved and get them to understand it as early as possible. And I couldn't be more pleased with how they responded.
Yeah, and this was definitely a very unique season. We saw a lot of changes, a lot of last-minute moves. How do you think the team adjusted to how fluid the schedule was?
Well, I thought they were very resilient. They were able to bounce back and adjust and change as needed. So, as far as I was concerned, I was very happy with their attitude and the way they approached it. And the coaching staff had to be just as adaptable to be sure that we were on top of things. And when something changed, there's no getting around it. You just have to deal with it and go to it and get it done. So I was very happy with the kids' attitude. The biggest problem that we had is when we found out that the NCAA was not having a Division III tournament. That really took the air out of my kids' sails, especially Jake being a senior. But he rebounded from it really quickly and got back that fire and continued to play well.
Definitely. And we saw some COVID-related pauses from other teams in the conference, but your team managed to stay on track and stay good throughout the season. What went into that process?
Well, multiple things. I mean, it changed not only daily, but sometimes hourly. But I think our campus and our athletic department and Marianne Sullivan in charge of the health department, all working together. I thought Greg Hommel was a huge asset for me because I was constantly calling him when something came up and I didn't know the answer to, and he was a good sounding board and resource person to get information as far as COVID-19 was concerned because he was running that clinic, so he had a lot of information. But I mean, it all worked out. So. The kids did a good job of not getting in big groups and, partying and things like that. Like, maybe other schools did, maybe they did, maybe they just got it by accident. Who knows? I don't know. But I'm very happy with the way our guys have responded through this whole pandemic.
Mm-hmm. This was definitely a different set of challenges than these student athletes were used to. Who do you think stepped up the most this season to, carry the team forward?
Well, we've had a lot of people really step up, and they've stepped up at different points of the season in different games. I can't really pinpoint one person, but I think it was definitely a collective effort, and everybody trying to do what they can for our team to be successful.
Absolutely. And this wasn't the typical LEC slate you'd normally see, but still face some tough competitors. Who do you think presented the biggest challenge?
Well, it's funny. They all have their own unique challenges. We lost a 2-point game and a 1-point game to Keene Eastern, and we were able to bounce back and beat them both by a pretty good margin. Rick, on the other hand, I think it was a 7-point and a 13-point win for us. But they present a unique challenge. I mean, they might be the most talented team, They struggle, I think, at times in certain aspects of the game, but nothing is taken for granted by me, and I hope not by my players. We've got a tough assignment on Friday night, and we have to come prepared to play our best basketball.
Absolutely. Now you'd mentioned a few games this season they've come down to like a final possession or so. How important is it for the team to, stay locked in for that till that final buzzer sounds?
Well, that's what we talk about every day. The practices. Um, my philosophy this year has been offense has been able to take care of itself. We haven't struggled in many aspects of our offensive sets. But defensively, sometimes we can lack a little concentration and miss an assignment here and there. And those are the things that we've got to limit. The less times we miss an assignment, the better off our team defense is going to be. The less time a person doesn't do a good job on his person, now that creates difficulties for the remainder of the team. They have to help out. And so far, it's been going really, really well. So I've been happy with their effort. And now it's the biggest challenge of all. These are the two most important games in front of us, and the first one is Friday night.
Hmm. Yeah, you had mentioned how both matchups with Rick this season were fairly tight. There weren't any, it wasn't exactly a blowout. How do you guys prepare for Friday's game knowing how tightly matched your teams are?
Well, I finished watching the tape this morning from the last game we played and trying to pick out a few little nuances that I can use defensively and even offensively to try to get a little bit of an edge. But I really believe that if my guys are locked in mentally and are willing to give it their all on the defensive end of the floor, I think we're going to come out okay.
Great. And I know this season has not been short of challenges and struggles. What do you think your players will take away from this season as it's been so different from all the other ones they've played?
I'm not sure. I think when we started playing in January, and I think it's carried through the rest of the season, my feeling was that I'm really happy that we're doing this, that we're playing. I think this is a real challenge, but I think we're up for the challenge. And I think it's going to benefit all of us because we're doing something that we love. And I think the players felt the same way. And I hope that's what they carry through, that we were able to participate this year and get this, even though it was a shortened season, be able to get this in.
Well, thank you for taking the time to sit down with me, Coach. And good luck this weekend against Rick and hopefully in Sunday's game.
Thank you, Molly.
Thank you. Don't forget to tune in to Friday night's game versus Rick on the Lilies Conference Network at 6 p.m.